Good evening, can you hear me? Please left your message and once you're ready we start. Let me know if you want to speak with me. To do that you should only left message in the chat and we will able to talk each other to improve our precious skills in English. It was a joke, of course. We have only a small part of it, and we should to practice more and more every day and find the way which lead to advancement and improvement of our English. Please don't be scared of my translation and left message, and then I will be able to join you in my stream. Much more better would be if you have a company of heroes. We in that case would make translation with plays and speaking both. You can speak whatever you want. What I demand from my friends who want to take a part in my conversation, only be polite and have respect to each of all people who take a part in the conversation. In connection with my opinion, I should to say that I haven't friends at all at present time, because I change my place of living, and now I live far off from my previous home, and I haven't known someone in this area, and only trying to find friends to speak with, and I have I left behind a couple of friends in my first living career, but as I said before, they live too far from me, and best way to find new friends, do it in the internet. But I have a particular goal. It's improvement of English, and main way to do it, it's find friends with I can speak to. Hello friend, how are you? Please do me know who you are. Why I began start English, it's a reason quite easy to understand if you look at life of common men who depressed with occasions of his life, and I quite easy find out reason of it. It was absence of knowledge, and when people live without studying of something, they dive deep deeper and deeper in depths of animal state of animal, and it's only way to improve your quality of life. I don't mean money or things like that. It's do whatever you can to be better in area when you work. Wherever I worked before, I each time have read all the books due with this area, that area of work, and either it was car mechanic or lighter in at television station. I always try to improve my skills in a particular area, and there you need at all too many time or skills to do it. You only should to find source of knowledge in this area by reading as many as you can books, and have defined what knowledge much better to suitable with your work. And because of I studying English at present time, and I have a large amount of knowledge already, as you can see, I can't use many of them because there needs more practice, and I have decided to do it every day because one video per week is not sufficient to receive improvement. Oh, Muslim Bergon, Assalamu alaikum, brad. How are you? I am fine. I am get over after my sickness, and I feel my better than ever. But I decided to bad idea not go in gym today, because once I was sick and decided to go in gym, and after all I was sick much more than before it. And I think a better idea to sit today at home, but tomorrow when I will go to my work, after that pay visit at my gym. What about you? How are you? How are you doing? I understand it's only a common question, but maybe it will be sufficient for us. Today our brothers in Fab again this game to load, sorry. I will do it much less load. What about now? I should examine. What about now? It seems all okay now. What occasion occurred in your country today, Mr. Bergman? I call you Mr. Bergman if you don't mind. I find it quite funny. It's like Mr. Wayne or something like that. And counting that you live in Germany, it's much more suitable than I thought before. Or you prefer that I could you so that I could call you, or you prefer so that I call you Herr Bergman? Why Mr. Bergman have written that everything closed today in is closed today in Germany? What's happened in Germany? Some kind of feast, or what is it? What is it? Everyone at home. I suppose it's a common holiday where even shops don't working. Herr Bergman is better. I suppose you're right. Sunday is always like this. What I want to say about occasions like that, it's quite impressive for me to know things like that, because it's mean they respect their shopkeepers and letting them to have a holidays. Sorry for repeating on holidays. I don't know how I would able to say that more correctly. If we will look at our shops, there whatever it's feast or holidays, our shopkeepers working every day without rest or things like that. Sunday is always like this here, right? He wrote. Yesterday when I crossed the street, despite that there was a green light for those who crossing the street, I mean people without cars, couple cars passed by us and near to hit against, and I don't understand, it's due with our temper or they maybe got drunk. I don't understand what reason it was. But they are sacrificed by the proceeds. But they are sacrificed by the proceeds. Proceeds. I'm trying to understand, to find point what you have wrote. I maybe don't correctly now words proceed. Sacrifice it. It's mean. For example, we sacrificing animals in our feasts. Please, can you repeat what do you mean? What do you meant? Understand problem with me. I really didn't understand. And profit. Yes. Now I got it. Even if you can't buy something on holidays, you should understand that it's a reason of the people allowed to rest in their holidays, also like you do, and it's an important thing in free countries. I would prefer to have closed shops than have known that people work without rest and suffered from it. Suffering of it. It's quite easy to tangle within words from and of, because of from childhood we were teach that teach that better say from than the what I did say before. It is more a tradition, I think, than caring for people. Look at this tradition. Look, is this tradition over, and try to define what source of it. It seems for me that main goal of this tradition is they trying to do same rules for all of their citizens. Maybe I think much more better about Germany than it is, but more or less German people live much more better than we do in Russia, I mean. I don't want to say that you live better in Germany, because I pretty good know that they don't like immigrants, and despite of their reason, even if Chechen people live in Germany because of political oppressors, for many of them it's no reason to live in Germany at all. But I suppose if you count your country free state, you have to admit that this part of being free citizen, and you have to be be more polite with those who oppressed in their own countries and be example for others ones. All because of the Marshall Project. What do you mean when you spoke about Marshall Projects? What it means? I don't know. I'm quite seldom have interesting about Germany political occasions. It's act against immigrants, or what it means? It's pretty interesting when countries which suggest that they are free states even don't want to admit that people who oppressed in their own countries and trying to find hideout in their one appeared in such situation when they exiled from their new houses, and I don't mean that immigrants have to receiving every month a lot of money, but at least money to live without problems. I mean, as much money as you can to allow yourself and your family to live in house and pay bills, what needed in this country, you have to receive in any rate. Well, America has raised the economy of all countries after the war. That's why they live so well. Brother, but immigrants bear the crime. Maybe particular part of immigrants committing the crimes, but I sure a lot that it's only a small part, a few of them are doing things like that. But main part of immigrants, it seems, live without doing any troubles for original citizens, and so only trying to save their families. I am emphasize that first problem because people easily to bite on such occasions when someone committed the crime, and it quite easily to condemn all of their part that they all guilty in crimes of one of them. Those whom I know, no one began to rise the economy. They are thrown out of political and economic life. Mr. Herr Bergman said, it's not easy to rise economy when you exiled from your own home and live in quite strange for you country, and you only trying to live and have feed for your family, and I more than assured that if German family would exiled from their own homes and appears in one of Arabic country, they would rise their economy. For example, can you imagine family of Germans who appears in Libya and immediately build business with many of shops or production factory, and intensely became a precious businessman? It's quite strange to think like that. Maybe someone really committed crimes or robbed people, forced women, raped women, or doing things like that. But it due with things which occurred while during their lives, and they every day have seen only murders, robbing, and other other abuse of American soldiers or their own brothers, ISIS and others groups. They even don't understand what mean to live in a country without robbing, bombing, and how to be people who live in civilized country. Maybe it somehow due with those occasions. About rape of women is not true. Russians propaganda. Oh, it's I'm quite determined in these occasions. When I speak English in word, грустит Иван Кадыров. When you speak English in the world, грустит Иван Кадыров. When Kadyrov will become a great leader of Muslims and throw out all of crimes he committed before, and will become a example for all the Muslims, I believe things like that, we will praise him every day and pray our God to give him health and prosperity for his family. But right now, he every day abuse with his political status and deprive people of Chechnya their lives, property, and other things. And it's quite sadness to know things like that, because I quite long thought that Kadyrov a really good Muslim person and trying to help Ummah to become more strong and respectful. But as it appeared, it's quite in my exception of world, many of the mistakes. But the Arabs are just rubbish for Europe, and this is fact. Look, Europe right now, every day robbing oil, mm, oil. What I want to say there, grab Arabic countries, left them without money, and these people forced to leave their own country and do journey into the European, because they want to live without bombing, as I said before. But it seems main problem due with Arabic people themselves. They more than 300 years killing was killing each have was have killing each other, and destroying Caliphate, and there are left many pieces of this great country, and it's due with many of religion bunches, and which of them trying to overcome rest of the bunch and to be more powerful. But all these problems appears because of they don't want to learn their own religion. There is no reason to be in such delusions, because they only must read Quran, live memoirs of Prophet Muhammad, peace to him, and define source of religion by themselves, not to be leading be leading by their religion teachers. Arabs were always wild. I suppose you're right, because despite they have many excluding examples, mainly they are really wild, and they live those ways right now. But it's if we compare European civilization with Arabic, we barely find many отличий, забыл сказать, отличий, как будет отличий. Barely find too many things what defining features of people. In the Middle Ages, Europeans were completely barbaric civilization, and every time refused from difference. How could I miss mere word like this? It's quite strange. Опять забыл слово договор сейчас. Каждый день забыл. Not a contract. Agreement. We had not many of heroes in the Middle Age. It's only uh, bunch of them, not plenty. And we have Salah ad-Din Zagir. I don't know how he named, how he called, because we know better American heroes from comics, but we even don't know our own heroes who lived in real life. It's sadness. It's terrifying to find out things like that right now. I am even have known more second names of generals of Deutsch than I do it due with our own heroes. It's shame. I was ashamed by this knowing. I see religion is too important to you. Listen what I think about religion. If you have decided to live in by rules of particular religion, you should to find leads what it lead you in lives, and you must to determine source of religion. If someone Christian, he must find where he get his rules of his religion, and I became a Muslim consciously, without forcing, and no one making me exception except of Allah, of course. And after I have read Quran, I completely decide to became a Muslim, because I understand that only reason to live, pray your God. And if you look at the world, you easily determine that it can to being without helping with by someone who live, I suppose, above us, and rule whole the world, and he live without time or being somewhere. I don't want to dive more deeply, because there is more of different opinions about things like that, as you said yesterday. But much more important to know that this world can appeared by themselves. If you look at our hands, our eyes, our bodies, you easily, pretty easily understand that it's plenty of high enveloped technologies, and each way lead us to understand that only God could create us. But when we have determined that only God create us, we must find reason of we must find source of praying. I mean sacred book or prophets, and after we have studying all of religion, at least main things and main rules of it, we must define what religion suitable for our life, but not only suitable, what religion suitable with our understanding. When I am reading Quran, one things I understand of it, that you must pray only one God and no one else. No priests, no nothing of sacred idols or things what to you must pray, and they lead you to your God. Not things like that. Only you and your God, who have unlimited power, who created all things in lives, and it seems those people who born in areas where religion is common thing, not often understand what gift they have from God, that they can praise their God from the childhood, and they have all knowledge already without searching of without searching what religion exactly right. And you, Herr Bergman, after all, Christians failed to build the kingdom of God. Are you not afraid that this will happen with Muslims? You said that in the Middle Age Europe was barbarous. Of course, we already have it. The Middle East totally deep and stuck in the barbaric age right now, because Arabic countries totally fall behind with technologies, and colonists able to do whatever they want with lives of Arabic people, but those who believe in God understand that end solution and the win will be defined by God, and we don't know how things can turn over. Maybe today we have great powered countries like Russians. I am comparing it with Arabic countries, Europe countries, and also USA. But maybe tomorrow they completely destroyed together each other, and unexpectedly appears Mahdi, who established a government of Muslims all around the world. How can you forecast things like that? It's impossible. There is too many things which can change every day. After all, Christians failed to build the kingdom of God. I easily determined what reason of their failing. They think that kingdom of God will be here, right among us. They all us will die, and after all we will be revived and live in the kingdom of God. That described in Bible, but much more of Christians think that they should, they must to build kingdom of God right now in this world, and not in future. And they certainly determine that they should to make their kingdom right now with our lives, with these bodies. And it put in my put in my mind one interesting thing. I have here theories that describe so in Biblian described not kingdom of God with Christians, but Halifax, because after church, after 5 centuries, appears our prophet Muhammad and established real religion kingdom with justice and with praying of God. And someone thinks that it was write down, it would have written, it have written about Halifax, not about those countries that imagine more Christians. It's all a priori judgments. It just recently became interested in logical positivism. I suppose you're right. It's quite certain that many of people don't want to observe things all around the sides and determine by themselves what real occurred in the world, and as I thought, they imagine world who is non-logical imagination and live within things like that. Opens eyes to many things and wise you very much.
You have failed the fatherland.
Alice, I can defeat someone. Alice, I can defeat anyone. They're much stronger than I am, because they playing every day and have skills overcome my own. I want to it's quite amusing that I don't know how to say thanks for my friend. Give me a couple secs. Give me a couple secs. Благодарю. I praise you for your parting in my stream, and thank you and appreciate your efforts to help me in studying English, Miss Herr Bergman, and I hope I will see you again. Assalamu alaikum, brother.